so you can start whenever you're ready. And then Evan has the burgundy shirt on. He'll take all that stuff from him.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that for many of us, the idea of being good is sort of the pinnacle of achievement, or at least something we aspire to. Some part of us has always wanted to be good, especially when we were younger. Just take, for example, our heroes from elementary school, the Disney protagonists who were always ready to spread kindness or save the day, like Prince Charming or Snow White. Personally, my favorite was Simba, and I know we all wish we were as cool as Shrek. All of these characters were morally upright. In fact, the very word hero implies goodness and noble qualities. And so, like our heroes, many young children worked hard to be sweet and be helpful to our parents, or carry in 5 grocery bags at once to demonstrate our heroic strength. However, this desire to be good changed when we hit our teenage years. Our mindset shifted. Suddenly, being good wasn't so cool. In fact, it's lame. Who wants to hang around with that mama's boy who won't take any risks or have a little fun? And so nobody wants to be that mama's boy. Nobody wants to be alone. So we're left to ask ourselves, what changed? Or rather, why did it change? It's simple, really. We hit our teenage years and we became more self-conscious. It's a phase of life, and we yearn to fit in and be cool. We've created this culture where being cool doesn't always mean being polite and kind, or sticking up for what's right, or avoiding drugs, sex, and alcohol. I'd also like to include that the purpose of this speech or message or Talon Talk, whatever you want to call it, is not to try to force any of my own moral values or ideals upon the audience, you guys, and nor do I speak to you guys from a moral high ground, because I, like all of you, also struggle with being good, and I have desires that I chase, and I want to be cool and interesting, so I'll make bigotry-filled jokes to get a laugh out of a handful of acquaintances, or I'll beg my parents to let me go to a party with alcohol, so my friend still thinks I'm cool. Another disclaimer is that I don't mean to sound like a parent either. Heck, I hate parents' lectures. They drag on and on and on, and in the end, you come away with nothing because, of course, they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know what it's like to be a teenager. They're not a teenager. What do they know? Though, they were teenagers once too, so maybe, just maybe, they might have a point when they say they want us to stay true to our values. Maybe it's possible to be cool and be good at the same time. Maybe being good doesn't have to mean being boring. Maybe to be funny, our jokes don't need to be insulting or sexual. Maybe we don't need to go to drinking parties to be cool. Maybe there are better things than sex. So we all use sexual and insulting jokes, even if we try not to. I know I personally crack these kinds of jokes all the time. I wish I didn't, but I did. It's something I'm working on. That's what she said. And when I make these jokes, all I'm thinking about is myself in the moment and the short-term benefit of getting a laugh out of my peers. But I don't realize what it does to me in the long run. Yes, it's cool to be the funny guy, but is it honestly? Let's say I make a fat joke and an overweight friend of mine overhears. Is he going to say, "Wow, you're so cool. I want to be like you"? Only if he's being sarcastic. So going back to Dr. Narcost's presentation a few months ago, almost immediately after his presentation, bigotry became this gigantic joke, solely because of the way he delivered his message. People started making fun of this message and calling everything bigotry jokingly. If you related to his message and were like, "Please stop, that hurts our falcon fighting spirit," people A, either think you were joking, or B, think you're a loser. Or at least that's how it seems. In fact, So our culture immediately made it uncool to stand up against bigotry and offensive jokes. In fact, I bet the second I said bigotry earlier, at least a few of you thought, oh boy, it's a goody goody, if you hadn't thought that already, or at least begun to tune out. But is that really your fault? Our culture batters people into being insensitive and, for a lack of a better term, bad. It's considered cool to use inappropriate and insulting jokes. It gets laughs all the time. So we have this problem, but what's the solution? Well, for starters, there are other jokes that are funny. Be creative. It is way more cool to make the occasional witty joke rather than constant sexual ones. So let's say you're popular for insulting others or making sexual jokes. Are you really that cool at all? Is it cool to say those things? Is the temporary laugh worth the long-term impact they have? Is it worth the feeling of those insulted? I think not. Instead, be the guy or gal who is different, who stands out, who is cool for standing out. Be the good. Bad jokes, however, are not the only temptations we face, unfortunately. Alcohol and drinking parties and all this nonsense also seems like a necessity to fit in, because everyone goes to them. Am I right? Not to mention that they promise the excitement of trying new things, fitting in. They tempt you with like the thrill of doing something you're not supposed to do, and in solidarity with the others doing it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And of course, these parties come with risks that I won't get into, because I'm sure you've heard them from your parents and teachers about 10,000 times. I know I have. And we get this idea stuck in our heads that we need to be like everyone else and make all the same stupid decisions as those around us in order to fit in and be cool. However, that need not be the case. Sure, I'm sure drinking can be fun, as people might say, and these parties can be thrilling. But there are plenty of other awesome activities that one can do instead, like ziplining. I know that if I heard that someone went ziplining instead of going to one of these parties, I'd be pretty darn impressed. And if you're going to these parties to hang out with friends, there are so many other better, more healthy ways to chill with them. Go for a bite to eat, order pizza, play games, go for a walk around town. Bond in healthy ways without alcohol. I guarantee that any interaction you have without alcohol is going to be better than interaction where you're drinking illegally at a party. I guarantee it. You don't need alcohol to fit in or be cool. Instead, demonstrate your restraint. Do cool and fun activities that you won't regret in 20 years. Be cool, but be the same way that our Disney heroes are cool. Make smart decisions and be kind. Finally, there is sex. A topic that is sort of awkward to talk about in front of my peers and being videotaped, but that's okay since it's important to talk about. Yes, I'm sure many will claim that sex is fun, but is it cool? Do any of you guys hear about two people doing it and everyone around them being, wow, that's so cool? Or do you hear people saying, ew, that's just weird and that's disgusting? Personally, I hear the latter much more often. There are so many other, more heartwarming moments you can have with your special someone than just sex. Is it cooler to take them out on a date, buy them flowers, cozy up with them by a fire, or is it cooler to do it with them? I know, if I had to say which is cooler, I'd definitely choose the first options. Hint, hint. In our culture, sex is so hyped up, and there's so much emphasis put around it. I mean, we have hormones, we have feelings, and we have a desire to act on these feelings. However, it is possible to be good and be interesting in other ways. Do better activities, like ziplining, because ziplining is awesome. So do awesome activities, just good ones. Being good is so important, and I know deep down everyone has at least some desire to be good and be kind. Of course, there's also the desire to be cool and the fear of being boring, but these desires don't need to clash. it's possible to be good and to not be boring. Take it from me. I mean, I try to be good, and I don't consider myself boring. I don't think my classmates think I'm boring. At least I hope not. So instead of falling in line with society and the crummy aspects of high school culture, instead be different. Be good. Stick out. Be that hero that you looked up to as a child. Bond with family and friends in a healthy way. Go have a blast. Enjoy life. And go ziplining. Just do it in a cool way. Do it in a good way. So I challenge all of you, myself included, to remember that being good does not mean being boring. So it is massively important to be that good person. Ignite that goodness inside of you, spark the flame, and tend to the fire. With that, I'll leave you with a final quote by Suzy Kassem. Striving to be good is the ultimate struggle of every man. Being bad is easy, but being good requires sincere commitment, discipline, and strength. We have to work hard every day just to remain good. Thank you.
Dak Prescott can't throw.
Oh.
But Drew Brees starting over quarters, I don't think that should have happened. This is heresy.